In our previous lectures, we have discussed about various art and culture aspects from A.L. Basam book. Now here I am going to give you a lecture on cave architecture. Now I am going to tell you what is cave architecture and how it came into being. We have seen that in Maurya period Buddha gained prominence. People began to worship Buddha. Then after the death of Buddha, to enlighten the ideologies of Buddha, the Buddhist followers assembled in a single place. There a particular place was in necessity for the followers of Buddha to discuss the ideologies of Buddha or to spread the ideologies of Buddha. And to fill up this necessity, cave architecture was begun in that period. And what is the purpose of cave architecture? What is cave architecture? It is an architecture, or it is a building that was carved out of a rock for the purpose of religion. For religious purposes, these this architecture was carved out of a rock. Then what we have known till this moment, we have known that to preach the ideologies of Buddha, to spread his ideologies, his followers assembled in one place. His followers had to assemble in one place, and for this purpose, cave architecture began, because caves which were carved out in a rock fill up the purpose of a assembled place to discuss the ideologies of Buddha. And what now we have to see then what are the different stages of cave architecture. We can see that there are three. We can consider that there are three different stages of cave architecture. The first phase. In first phase, they are very primitive architecture, they are like Bara and Nagarjuni hills. They are very simple. They are only one building. They are very simple without any decoration. They are very simple. And the another noticeable aspect is that the architecture during this period, during first phase, generally followed the wooden prototype. Earlier we have discussed that what happened till Maurya period, architectures are generally made out of wood. Then after from the Maurya period, stone came into prevalence, but still architectures were not totally free from earlier wooden prototype. That is why in cave architecture also, though these architectures were carved out of rock, still they were not totally able to free from the earlier wooden architecture. That is why the cave architecture during the first phase generally followed 2 points. They were very simple. 3 points. There are 3 points. First is that they were very simple. Second thing is that they generally followed wooden prototype. Their style was generally like earlier wooden architecture. And another point is that though they were very simple, but the inner walls of these caves were finely polished. Even though they were made of wood, still they were finely polished. If a question arises that from why these were finely polished, because when we will discuss the cultural aspects of Maurya period, then we will discuss this aspect that polishedness is a very peculiar characteristics of Maurya art. Modern architectures were so finely polished that people even can share their faces. It is a very peculiar character of Maurya architecture, and this Maurya architecture is reflected in these earlier caves also. Bara caves, who is Ashoka dedicated to Ajivika sect, along with Nagarjuni caves, came into this first phase of cave architecture. Then generally what happened? Second phase began. In second phase, what happened? Generally, gradually, this wooden style. In first phase, caves generally followed the wooden prototype, wooden architectural style. In second phase, generally this wooden architecture disappeared. Not totally disappeared, but gradually it going to disappear. And another thing is that instead of simple caves, now caves are generally what happened? Decorated. They are elaborated with different figures. Now they were ornamented. The Buddhist figures were erected in the caves. Then what are the caves that were made during this phase, like Bhaja, Karli. Okay, these will come under the second phase. Okay, these will come under the second phase. In the Barabar and Nagarjuni caves, which will come in the first phase, and Bhaja and Nagarjuni, these will come in the second phase. Okay, sorry, Barabar and Nagarjuni in the first phase, and Bhaja and Karli, these caves will come in the second phase. And in case of Bhaja cave, there are some very fine sculpture, like there is a sculpture of prince seated on elephant, another sculpture a prince on a chariot, another sculpture a three-armed figure, and another sculpture dancing couple. These sculptures are found in Bhaja caves, and these caves this is a very this is a very beautiful. These are very beautiful figures which are found in Bhaja caves. Okay, now what we have seen in the first, we have discussed first and second phase. In first phase, what happened? They were very simple. They were they followed wooden style, wooden architectural style, and their inner walls are finely polished. In second phase, what we have seen? Wooden architecture generally disappeared. Okay, wooden architecture generally disappeared. Wooden architecture generally disappeared. This is the main point that contrasts to first phase of cave architecture. And now during this phase, then caves were very finely elaborated. Okay, entrance gates were established with decorated figures of Buddha. Okay, sculptural figures are found like we have seen in Bhaja caves. Okay, these are the second phases. Okay, then now another aspect regarding cave architecture that I forgot to discuss is Chaitya and Vihara. These are Chaitya and Vihara. These are two characteristic figures of this cave architecture. Chaitya means it is a prayer hall, and Vihara means monastery where Buddhist monks live. These are the two integrated figures related with cave architecture during this phase. Okay. And in the third phase, till now we have discussed first and second phase of cave architecture, and now we will discuss the third phase. What is the prominent character of this third phase of cave architecture? In third phase of cave architecture, what happened? Now they are very highly elaborated. Now they are very architects or kings were not only satisfied with one single hall. Okay, it becomes a great hall. Okay, then another reason behind this greatness is that what happened? Day by day, popularity of Buddha grew among society. His followers increased. Okay, and monks were increased. Okay, and we have seen that monastery were integrated figure of cave architecture. Monasteries where Buddhist monks live. When the numbers of Buddhist monks live increased, then monastery has to be the size of the monastery has to be also increased. Okay, to fill up this necessity, monasteries were increased. The size of the monasteries was increased. Okay, in this way, largeness is the one of the main characters of the third stage, and it was highly elaborated. And another thing is that it is a transitional stage. Transitional state, it is a very important term. Transitional means it is a transitional phase from the rock cut structure to freestanding architecture. Rock cut structure means what happened? Till this moment we have seen that architectures were carved out in rock. Okay, sometimes they followed wooden prototype, and sometimes they did not follow wooden prototype, but still they were made out of rock. They were not totally those architectures were not totally separated from rock. Okay, now in this third phase, the important thing is that transitional phase will begin, and from this transitional phase, medieval temple architecture will begin. Okay, And in this third phase, Ajanta and Ellora, these are a very fine cave architecture. And one difference between Ajanta and Ellora is that in Ajanta, what happened, we found generally Buddhist temples, okay, Buddhist structure, and in Ellora, Buddhist, Jain, and Hindu. Three types of monasteries are found. Remember this difference, it might come into exam. And in Ajanta, generally Ajanta comes under architecture, sculpture, and painting. All these three elements are found in Ajanta. Okay, the very famous paintings, the Bodhisattva, Padmapani, and Avalokiteswar, these Buddhist paintings are found in Ajanta. And another important thing is that Kailasnath temple found in Ellora is said to be the poetry in stone. This temple was dedicated to Shiva, okay, and it is the finest and it is the most beautiful temple found in India, and even it is recognized as the one of the most beautiful architecture in the whole world, called as poetry in stone. And one important thing I have mentioned before, that in this third stage we have seen that it is a transitional phase. Transitional phase means the architecture shows a transition from rock cut to freestanding. Okay, freestanding means it was not dependent on rock. It will be now erected on ground in a free structure, freely. Okay. Now this Kailasnath temple is a burning example of this freestanding temple. Though it is not totally free from earlier rock cut architecture, but still it shows a, though it is not totally free from earlier rock cut architecture, but yet it shows a tendency to erect freely. That is why we can put this Kailasnath temple under freestanding architecture. Okay, under transitional phase of freestanding, transitional phase of rock cut architecture, from where we can say that initiation of freestanding temple has begun. Then another some noticeable caves during this third phase was Mamallapuram. Ratha temple in Mamallapuram. What is Ratha temple? Ratha means chariot. Okay, chariot. The temple here, temples were cut out of rock. Here in Mamallapuram, temples were cut out of rock in the form of Ratha, in the form of chariot. Okay, there are different names of the chariot like Draupadi Ratha, Arjuna Ratha. Okay. And another noticeable temple is that Elephanta cave. It also comes under a third phase of cave architecture. Trimurti figure of Shiva. Shiva is the famous sculpture found in this Elephanta cave. Okay, here Ardhanarishwar statue of Shiva is also found in Elephanta cave. Now, what is the prominent figure of these three caves? Means what are the prominent characteristics of Kailasnath temple, Mamallapuram temple, and Elephanta temple? The main and the most prominent characteristics is in the third phase is that all these temples and all these caves, not temples, all these caves actually shows a transitional phase in temple cave architecture, from where the medieval temple structure has begun. All these three caves show a tendency to free from the rock cut architecture and to erect in a freestanding architecture. And right from these three caves, medieval temple style has begun. Okay, then in our next chapter, I will come with another topic. Hope you will enjoy. Okay.